Good evening. How are you? This is going to be quiet. Just sit there.
I am.
Turn my headphones yet. I'll pop my headphones out. We're waiting for Dalen to log in. I queued the intro a little early to make sure everything was working and I could hear everything. So hopefully Dalen joins us in the next minute or two. He hasn't popped on yet. He has the link. He knows all about it. So hopefully he'll pop on. For now, it's just the two of us. And we'll talk about white buffaloes and no, we're not going to talk about any of that. But
He was actually, before we're coming on, wouldn't it be you doing an intro with Scooter, like having him dance? So yeah.
Anyway, we're just waiting. Again, Dalen has the link. Wait for him to come on. I hope he got the days right because I literally just sent him a message on Instagram earlier this afternoon. So hopefully he remembered that was today. I said, here's the link for later, 8 p.m. tonight. So hopefully he jumps on. Hopefully he remembers. If not, you know me, I could talk and talk and talk. So bear with us. I keep looking at the little guest button there to see if he pops on. As soon as he does, we'll start the interview and we'll start talking to him. For now, Chris will be Dalen, and I'll be interviewing Chris about what the...
You wouldn't catch me in a graveyard.
How's everyone doing? Hey, Kathy, Christine, Dana, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, it's been a while. How are you?
Hey, Mary Jane.
Marcia, I can't see. The glasses are horrible. I can't see that far. But anyway, like I said, I'm hoping Dalen pops on. Oh, speak of the devil. There he goes. All right, headphones on. I'm going to bring him in cold, so this should be fun. All right, Dalen, I'm bringing you in cold. You hear me?
How's it going?
Good. We started without you, so we're live already. I don't want you to say anything that's going to get you in trouble.
I hear you.
So how you been?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Staying busy.
Yeah, you're always busy, man. You're always doing something. I follow you on social media and the YouTube and everything else. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight is more of the YouTube stuff. Those of you who don't know, and I don't know how you don't know, Dalen Spratt was on Ghost Brothers for how many years was Ghost Brothers on, Dalen?
That was probably about almost 8 years, man.
Ghost Brothers was on 8 years? No way.
Yeah.
We had Ghost Brothers season 1 and 2. Then we had Lights Out 1 and 2. We had Haunted House Guest. We had Fright Club. So yeah, we was about almost 8 years, man.
Damn, was it that long? I'm thinking like 3 or 4 because I thought you were doing those shows kind of back to back. I thought there was like all year Ghost Brothers. It was almost like
you took him by surprise.
Ghost Brothers,
Dalen.
Love Boat,
Yeah.
Ghost Brothers. They were on everything. So out of all those shows that you were doing, the Lights Out, the Ghost Brothers show, which one was your favorite of the one? Did you like reviewing the videos or did you like going out there and investigating?
I think both were interesting in its own right. Reviewing the videos for Fright Club with Jack Osborne was really fun because it allowed us to just play and have fun and not be held like responsible for anything. But I love going out and investigating. My favorite series that we did was probably Haunted House Guests, where we went to viewers' homes and stayed in their house for a weekend to see if their homes were haunted, because we were able to bridge that gap between reality and television. So that was always fun and cool.
Wow. See, that's the one I didn't watch. I didn't even know that they did that.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that. Now I'm going to go back and try to watch that.
But here's the kicker, though. Didn't that kind of intimidate you a little bit going into people's houses? Staying the weekend?
Oh, well, only because everybody's clean isn't the same. So I'm not really worried about like spirits. I'm just worried about like the cleanliness.
I'm not even talking about spirits. I'm talking about people in general.
Yeah, it's the pets. It's the pets. And that's when I found out I had a severe pet allergy.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So we would be staying at the house and like my eyes would get red and puffy. I couldn't breathe. I would break out in like hives. Yeah, because those are people that like would have pets and would allow their pets to be like on the furniture and
yeah.
the like all of that. Yeah, I just could not. I could not.
Well, now if you were a certain other investigator, you would have turned that into demonic possession or used it for your benefit.
This place
So
is really evil.
I wanted to do a really deep dive into Graveyard Shift because I watched some of those YouTube episodes and I am really interested in what you do and how you do it. I think um, I've seen I haven't watched them all, but I see them come up on my my YouTube list and I see some of the titles. And you went from just going into cemeteries, correct, with just you and going to certain headstones and certain graveyards and trying to communicate to now it's evolved into you're actually bringing family members in, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So the graveyard has definitely I think I have found my purpose in the paranormal. I think Ghost Brothers was a good introduction for me into the paranormal, and it just kind of, got my feet wet, helped me break my, potential fear of the paranormal. But it really wasn't. I don't know. I think it was just us trying to find out if ghosts were real, and
Right.
we spent a few years trying to figure that out. And I think once we figured that out was interesting because that was when the landscape of paranormal shifted on television, which forced me to try to find my own lane on YouTube. And the graveyard shift really was birthed out of necessity. I was just trying to figure out how I could film a lot of something paranormal and not have to pay a lot of money for locations.
Well,
For real.
not only that, what was really funny when we saw you guys at Penhurst and you guys were up there doing your
Panel.
lecture at the
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
Marcus is Marcus, and Marcus is like, Dalen has the I don't pay rule because people are asking why you guys aren't together more and
Yeah.
doing more stuff, and he's
Yeah.
like, I thought that was
No.
pretty
So
funny.
yeah, because I went to like YouTube in production
Yeah,
and yeah, yeah, that means I have to pay for Marcus and
of
Jawan's
course.
travel and like all of that. And they was like, yeah, but when you do the business side of it and you're not just on television, you see like, yeah, you can't spend money you're not making.
Hell no.
Like everybody kind of just gotta do it. This is a passion project. This isn't to make money. So like if you're in it for money, this ain't the space
Well,
to be
maybe
trying to
they'll
like
take monopoly money, Dalen.
right.
Let's
But
get
no,
creative, man.
right. But no, I just feel like the graveyard shift is just like I said, it's my purpose. It allows me. I've spent the past 2 years perfecting one thing in the paranormal.
Right.
Like instead of trying to do a whole lot of stuff, I literally just tried to perfect the spirit box. And I think that I have. And now the show has gravitated to me reaching out to my subscribers and seeing if any of them have family members they want to contact on the other side. And it's just been amazing to see the stories in our community that our community has cultivated. Like we've had stories from a mother whose daughter and husband was killed by the
Oh,
daughter's boyfriend.
oh my
Uh,
God.
yeah, we had this past week, we had a lady in Atlanta who she wanted to speak to her great grandfather who passed away because he got hit by a train in
Oh,
1900. In 1900.
wow.
Uh, yeah, we have just a lot, a lot. A lady this week, the story this week, I traveled to Tampa, Florida, and when she was 8, she was living with her grandmother, and her grandmother's husband, I guess, physically beat her grandmother. And when she was off at school that day, her grandmother took a gun and killed her husband. and she got home from school as the police was pulling her grandmother out the house in handcuffs.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, yeah. And 4 months later, her grandmother died in jail from cancer that she never told anyone she had. So it's like all this whirlwind of stuff happened to this lady at the age of 8 with the woman
Wow.
that she had lived with, and she's never gotten to speak to her again or just figure out anything. So it was just interesting.
Yeah, she just went to school, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
her world
I
stopped.
Her
mean,
life was flipped upside down.
but back to the original concept, because again, I remember when you first started doing it, and again, you were just going into cemeteries and you were taking the spirit box in there. You would sit down and, always respectful, doing your sessions. I I was wondering how it went from there to here, and part of me, thinks like, okay, like I didn't know how the process worked, but you just kind of went into it a little bit. But now that you described it, I think it's like, again, nobody's done that. That's kind of
He
really
made it human.
different.
He made
And
that human connection between the
yeah, but
living
they're
and the
reaching
dead.
out to
And you've
him.
got
I
that.
didn't know how it worked. I didn't
Yeah.
know if he was kind of like, I don't know, looking at like YouTube stories or
could
on
you
the
imagine-
internet. And
But can you imagine? And then this is how I picture it, because just listening to what I do and what I feel about things, we sit there and we organically just try to communicate with strangers in the spirit world that don't know us, that we're trying to connect. But now you're bringing in family,
Yeah.
people that were connected to them somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So there's the energy of the emotion behind it, that connection that's there. I believe those type of bonds cannot be destroyed in death. So
Right.
I think that that's unique in itself. That
Yeah,
he's bringing
mean,
it a step further for that
he's
connection.
doing a medium thing, but he's not a medium. He's actually trying to offer them physical evidence of
Right.
that
Right.
person.
Exactly. Exactly. I tell people all the time, I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium, I'm just a brother holding a box. I'm just holding the spirit box. And that's the way that I want to keep it. Like I tell people, I don't have some superpower. Like I look at people like Cindy Kaza and Chip Coffey and Scotty the Medium and like all these people. I look at them as like superheroes. Like they really have, I feel like, a superpower that the majority of people don't have. I am not one of them. I am literally, I just have an app on my phone that I literally downloaded 10 years ago. 10
Wow.
years ago, a free app. And I have just perfected it from using it so much that it works for me, hands down. And I tell people I like to use something that everybody can use. So I'm not faking it. I'm
Yep.
not like you can do exactly what I'm doing. And I get frustrated when people write on my channel, why don't you use a different spirit box, something that I can better understand? I watch Joe Schmo's page and he has a box with that does this. And I want to tell them so bad, like, yeah, there's a reason why he uses something like that.
You better believe it. He's got haunting in a box. I mean, he's manufacturing.
Yeah. So you
stuff.
telling me his spirit box sounds just like the person that passed away, the celebrity that passed away, and all this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me
Uh,
stick to doing what I know.
Here,
It
here's the
works.
here's the thing too, Dalen. We I want to get into like the personal side of it too, because we had done an investigation of, now this wasn't family, it was just, we happened to be in a building where the last person who lived there 30 years ago, he unalived himself.
Right.
His family, his wife left him with the kids. He thought they were coming back, they weren't. He unalived himself literally by the front door. And there was activity happening in the building. They knew what happened to this person, but they didn't want to believe that he would still be there. He was still there. Now, we captured a lot of evidence, but the people that now own the building told us, don't ever mention anything that came through, because his family still lives,
His daughter,
in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now,
strangely enough, who showed up that night when
Yeah,
we were doing it? That the paramedics that showed up, there was the what was it? The officer that was on the scene. All of these people came to this thing and were doing it with us, which was crazy because they were part of
yeah,
it.
but I'm trying to get to a
I know.
different point here.
I just took
Thank
you off the
But-
rails. I'm sorry. I'm famous for that.
But what I'm talking about is, do you ever get kind of blowback from people saying that, like with mediums, some people believe that mediums are kind of, I don't know, taking advantage of people in their weakest moments. You know, like you said, lost their son, they lost their father, and here you are now with your spirit box. Do you ever get any blowback from that where people are like, hey, you know, should you be doing that? You know, are you giving people?
Uh, Not okay. So I get blowback from people when my videos go viral on YouTube. So like when something hits the algorithm and someone stumbles across my page who's not involved in the paranormal,
Yep.
and they just something comes on their algorithm and they see me at a cemetery trying to talk to ghosts. I get a lot of comments from those people.
Yeah.
But then people that do kind of understand about spirits and paranormal, I don't get as much blowback for like being that guy, like, you know, taking advantage of people. One, because I don't reach out to people, they reach out to me. That's
Right.
one.
Right.
Two, I don't charge people, I spend my money. So I buy a plane ticket to fly to that person in their city. I rent a car. I get a hotel room that night if I have to stay. Like I don't charge. I'm spending. If I'm getting over on people, I'm hustling backwards. so,
That's kind of like
so
what we do.
yeah. So like it's really easy to debunk that. So anytime someone new gets in, it's like, oh, he's just, you know, trying to get over on people, or he's just trying to steal. Like I get a host of people from my community sticking up for me, just like
Right.
laying out those very exact reasons why, like I can be trusted because I'm not asking. It'd be different if I was charging people. You know what I'm
But
saying?
why can't they look at it from the side of there's that you're helping to heal people who have unfinished business or issues, like the girl who came home from school and her whole world got blown up and she never got to say or talk or have that
No closure.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing, none of that.
yeah.
Why aren't we looking at it that way?
100%, 100%, and it just gives people the opportunity. And like I said, I tell people, I tell people straight up, like we don't know who we're talking to. We don't know if you're contacting your loved one or not. We could be contacting Bob from marketing, or we could be contacting a demon from the darkest part of hell. Who knows?
Or some
Who
comedy
could
man that's
like just who knows who we could be contacting?
Yeah.
But if you're down for the experience, I'm down to experience it with you and help facilitate the conversation.
See, I
And
like
it's-
that attitude because and from a paranormal researcher, whatever you want to call it, investigative perspective, we would argue with people, not argue with people, but just speak to people. And in terms of theory, there is no difference between trying to talk to the spirit of someone who passed yesterday or 300 years ago. I mean, if you're trying to communicate with a loved one or someone from 200 years ago, there really is no, they're in the spirit world, if there is such a thing. Yes, people may look at it a little differently, like, oh my God, they were just gone yesterday. They just, God forbid, died in a whatever
and that's
plane
because
crash.
there's
And
emotions
here
and
you are
feelings
trying to
tied
talk
it.
to them with their family members. There really is no difference. I mean, if there is a spirit world, a heaven, whether it's 1 year, 1 day, 1 hour, or 100 days or hours or
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, on my channel, we try not to speak to people who have freshly
Right.
passed away.
Right. Right.
Just because we don't want to step on the toes of any of their living family members.
Right. Right.
So we don't know how people look at what we do. And
Right.
so the last thing we would want is for us to be trying to speak to somebody's, you know, mother, father, brother, sister, child, uncle, and they don't agree with it. And now
Yep.
they're dealing with the loss on top of being poked at, you know what I
Yep.
mean,
No.
in their
And,
eyes.
and I think that's a good statement, because the other side of that is that when you do lose somebody, you're still dealing with so many different emotions from everything that it can spill over unwittingly to someone who's trying to communicate because of those
Yeah.
emotions. It may not be
Yeah.
because of what you're doing. They may come back to you 10 years later, 5 years later, and say, hey, let's give it a go now. I'm ready now.
Yeah. So again, I try not to, but there's always like a caveat. There are times where I am in resting communities where someone has just been buried. And I always get the same, and I always say the same thing. Like, I'm not here to disrupt, disturb, or even talk to this person. But uh I would be an asshole to let's just say you could pull back that spiritual veil. What
Yep.
if that person really was there trying to communicate?
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna talk to this person. They don't, you know what I mean? And that person
Yeah.
is literally like, no, I need to speak to
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody's finally here trying to talk to me.
it,
Please,
yeah,
let me
yeah.
talk.
At least putting up a
So
wall.
yeah, right. So I always give them the opportunity. So I'm like, I'm not here to talk to you or disturb you, but if you got something to say, I am for sure listening. So it's been times where a couple people have definitely come through that have been freshly,
Right.
passed in transition. But a guy reached out to me the other day. His daughter last year, she passed away from a fentanyl overdose. So she took a pill that was given to her that was laced with fentanyl, and she overdosed and passed away. So this has been right under a year, in him and his wife. And I was like, whoa, that's heavy. Like they're
Yeah.
ready to attempt to try to talk to their daughter.
Wow.
And it's just like it's been just a year. And it's just
Wow.
like, to lose a child in
Yeah.
within 12 months and you're ready to try to take that step to try to communicate. I mean, that's heavy. Like that's
Yeah.
heavy.
Very. Very.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just, it's up to the people. Like I wouldn't dare have gone to that young girl's grave. I think she was like 22. I wouldn't dare go to her grave without their permission to not 12 months after she passed, you know what I mean? But they're adamant. They're like, this is the one thing that we want to do. Like we watch your show, we trust you, and we would love for you to facilitate this conversation.
How does that make you feel, Dalen? That people trust you? Because I lost a daughter 5 years ago from the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
Yeah.
how does that make you feel that someone comes to you with, I mean, so vulnerable? It is, losing a child is unspeakable. I mean,
Yeah,
I am still not in a place where I could do that, even knowing what I do.
right.
So how does that make you feel to have people put that kind of faith and trust in you? Because that's a lot.
So it makes me feel like I'm walking in my purpose with what I'm doing. Like it took me 2 years to kind of just figure it out, but it clicked one day. Like it just literally clicked one day recently. Like this feels right.
Right.
Like not saying the other stuff doesn't. Like it's cool to just go to a wrestling community, pull out a spirit box, and just try to have a random conversation. People like those videos. That's cool. I love doing celebrities and history story, true crime. So I love going to LA and retracing the last steps of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald
Yeah.
Goldman, and
Yeah.
going to the house they were murdered at
Oh
and
my
going to
God.
their grave and asking them what happened. Like
Wow.
I feel like a paranormal journalist. Like
Yeah.
I love that. That's cool. That's entertaining. That's
Right.
not helping anybody. That's just that's just pure fangirl. Like, let me go see if I can talk to a victim of Ted Bundy to hear the story. Like, I mean, there's no
That's
helping
your
in that.
adrenaline junkie thing. That's your
Yeah, that's me loving history and stories and just that. That's cool, but it's a totally different ball game when it's someone's best friend who they haven't spoken to in 20 years, and the last conversation they had before that person passed away was an argument, and they just
Yeah.
want to say sorry one last time. Like it's different. Like it
It's
hits
completely
different.
different.
But do you
Yeah.
ever get the the pressure of like are you ever going through it and doing it and you know yourself that the message isn't coming through that they want, like as much as you're trying, you know that you'd like to give them more, you want to give them more,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely sometimes, a few times. There's been a few times where I just so something always comes through.
okay.
And something always comes through. but sometimes it's a lot. Like it's like wow,
Oh,
and
really?
sometimes it's just like damn. Like I know you was looking
Yeah.
for more than that,
Yeah.
but and I mean, it just is what it is. I have no control. If it was up to me, everybody would get the answer that they want.
Yeah.
But that's
But also,
unrealistic.
relationships are two-sided for the living and the dead. So maybe I may want to communicate, but on the other side, they may not want to interact with me for whatever reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the celebrity ones, because I know you did a few of those. Again, from an outsider perspective, are you worried again about blowback from, let's say, I'm just going to make up a celebrity, Marilyn Monroe? Are
Right.
you worried about blowback from Marilyn Monroe fans that you would go do that? And because, there's certain generations where the paranormal is okay, and others where they weren't doing this stuff back then.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
or do you get blowback from that ever, where people are like, oh my God, he's just exploiting, he's not talking to Marilyn or whoever?
So I have done a Marilyn Monroe video. That's probably one of my most viewed videos.
Okay.
Um yeah, if you go read the comments, there's always gonna be some people in there, saying a little bit of that. But surprisingly, not even surprisingly, it's about right. I get more blowback from newer. I think people would be more inclined with me trying to speak to the spirit of someone old
Yeah.
than someone newer.
Yep.
So like I get a lot of the let them rest and leave them alone to like
That's what I meant.
so to I did a video maybe 4 or 5 months ago with Twitch. Twitch was the DJ dancer
Oh
from
yeah,
Ellen.
love Twitch.
Yeah, yeah. So he really only passed away maybe 2 3 years ago, maybe. It hasn't been that long.
Nope.
No.
I got a lot of blowback from that, but that's because just his story was in the media at the time
A lot of
with his
controversy.
wife and the book she wrote and his parents. So I did a video that got caught up in that algorithm.
Uh-huh.
So then that reached a lot of people that was like, leave him alone, let him
Yep.
rest, and da 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 da. But I'm like, if he wants to talk, let that person. Who am I to make the decision whether someone I can't see in a dimension I've never been wants to communicate? Like, who am I to determine if they can or can't? Like, my job is just to listen. Like, that's it, just to listen.
Yeah. And I think that's with people who put those kind of statements, they're projecting how they feel. And they're trying to
Yeah,
project
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot
we
of people
forget
that don't
that.
believe in what we do and that it's real,
Absolutely.
and they do believe that. Let's face it, like we were just talking about. What do you refer to as the cemetery as? I've heard you say the word 3 or 4 times already. You
oh, rest in community.
okay? So, in theory, should you be going to a resting community and disturbing?
But again,
I'm just saying in general. I don't believe it, but I'm just saying there are people
resting.
out there who are like, "Hey, let him rest."
So
You know,
on that theory alone,
I don't believe that.
as soon as you die, that's it. Communicado is
Yeah,
over.
I don't believe that at all.
We no longer exist. We don't
But-
talk about
But
it.
if you're going to interview a celebrity's past, like Dalen said, you're going to get caught up in the algorithm of fans of Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Automatically, YouTube is going to tie you into that, and not all those people are paranormal fans or
course
even
not.
believe what we do, and you're going to get caught
And they're
in
going to
that loop
project
of,
on you how they feel about
Yeah, exactly,
this.
exactly.
And that's what it is.
That's what
You
I was
can't take it
basically
personal.
asking,
Yeah.
because it's a whole nother demographic
It
and
is.
audience of people that may not agree with what you do.
Well,
and,
I'm a believer, and this is you were with me when I lost my daughter and that whole thing and what it entailed. I don't ever want her to be forgotten.
right.
She was such a good person, a beautiful human being
Right.
that was taken too soon, and it was very tragic. And I want to keep that conversation going. I don't want her to be forgotten. It's a legacy. I don't think death is where everything ends. I think it changes. And I say this a million times. When you lose the people you love, that bond can't be destroyed. It's still there. It's
Right.
just the compartment that held it that's no longer there.
I agree.
Well, let me ask you a question, because a lot of people ask us this question too. I've gone into cemeteries before with recorders and other things, and done things in the past. Hypothetically, God forbid, your parents or your somebody close to you had passed, and it had been a year or two, and you walked up to visit them and you saw somebody doing what you do, what would be your reaction?
Ah, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
like that. He didn't have a patented answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just be wondering why you trying to talk to, like, why you talking to to my person. Like, that would be my. I would be more. I wouldn't be concerned about what they're doing. It's just like why they're
Oh,
doing
the
it.
reason behind it.
Yeah, and if they were just like, oh no, I was just out here and I cut the spirit box on and I was walking and I just stopped. All right, cool. But like, yeah, I would have to know your reasoning. Your
Okay.
reason would determine how I felt about it.
So it wouldn't be a personal thing where, no, you couldn't do it. What are you doing? You're
Nah, because I feel like that would just be hypocritical.
right. That's
That
why I
would be
was asking you that.
that would be hypocritical because what if my loved one or my friend was desperately trying to speak to someone and this
Right.
was their opportunity that they were trying to, and here I am trying to impose my feelings or emotions on something that they desperately want or need. So yeah, that's an interesting question. So yeah, I think, again, it would just be as long as there was no malicious
Right.
intent with what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because again, even with me, again, I lost my mom to COVID, and I always wonder, doing what I do, speaking to as many spirits as I have through all the years of doing this, how would I feel if somebody were doing that at my mom's grave? I mean, I like you said, I'd probably walk up to them and be like, "Hey, what are you doing, and why are you doing this?" You know,
Right.
and
Right.
then like, did she say anything bad about me? I'm John.
Right.
Did she?
Right.
Did
Right.
she mention? So, but I want to go back to, again, you working with family members now, which I honestly, I think that's a brilliant idea. I really do. I think it's
Thank you.
original. I think it's really, really brilliant. I could see how people would look at it in different ways, just like they do mediums. But
Hmm.
have you gotten messages during the course of doing this that have kind of surprised people, as far as like, oh, things that they were wanting to hear, or things that they didn't know that kind of surprised them? Because I know that happens with mediums too. Has anything ever come through where they were like, oh my God, I didn't know that they felt this way about this, or, any surprise messages where the family members were just like, holy crap?
What's funny on this last episode from the other day, the lady whose great grandfather got hit by a train. In his story, he left his house. It was late at night. He's left his family and kids and went into town. And on his way back late at night is when he crossed over on the train tracks on one of those bridges, and he couldn't move when the train came and he got hit.
Oh
So
my God.
she wanted to know, what were you doing so late at night away from home in
On
the
a train
city
trellis.
on the train? Yeah, right. And clear as date, he said, I was on a date. He was like, he said, I was on a date.
I hope it was a good date for his sake. I hope it was worth
Yeah.
it.
He went into town. He snuck off into town to go see some.
Wow. Wow, that
That's
is crazy.
hysterical.
Yeah.
I, I
Yeah.
I know there was one. Again, I just read the line on YouTube, and it was about you sitting with a mom whose son had passed. Was that
Oh,
recent, or is that upcoming, or was that?
which one is that? Son who mom who son? I
Uh,
wonder if that.
I don't know if the son had passed recently, but it might have been part of just things you had done already, or maybe something was upcoming.
I'm
And
not. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you about to
but
say?
but 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 when I was looking at it, and I read just the title of the video, and I think I believe the thumbnail was the woman sitting there, and you were sitting next to her. Again, I wonder, now that I know that they reach out and they contact you and you come after the session, after they're done. What is that like for you? Are the people because I've seen seances, I've seen mediums do readings before. We have a psychic fair that we do. What is it like afterwards? Are they grateful? Are they just sad and they kind of, thank you and go on their business? Like what usually happens after something like that?
Nah, man, everybody's really just appreciative of the time that we shared and just the effort that we put forth. Like I said, most people feel like they made some sort of a connection, or they got at least a few of their answered questions answered, or that they felt like they were just really speaking to their loved one.
Okay.
I think one of my favorite videos, a woman is a part of our community. She was a part of the Jim Jones massacre
Oh my God.
in
How funny
the
is it that he's talking about that? Go ahead. I got a story for
we
you,
got a
but go
story
ahead.
for
I'm
you.
sorry.
yeah. So her story, it was her and her three siblings and a single mother. They needed help. Their mother got turned away by the Catholic Church. So her mother goes to a Catholic church and tries to seek help. They tell her they can't do anything for her. On the way out, a random lady stops her and is like, "Hey, I know an organization that could help you out." Turns out that it's Jim Jones and his cult.
Oh my
So her
God.
mother and all of her siblings get wrapped up in this cult. They're, traveling with Jim Jones, all of this, and then they end up going to, well, I think they were in Guyana, that was where it
Yep.
happened at.
Yep.
Yep.
So they end up going and moving out there. She just randomly, they bring in a doctor to give everybody an eye exam in the compound. The doctor had 1,000 glasses with him, just to different prescriptions to give out to people. She got her check up and the doctor said he didn't have any glasses for her and she needed to go into town, Georgetown, to get new glasses, and she did not want to go, and the camp made her go to into town to get these new glasses. Now, to go into town, this is like a 2-3 day excursion to
Right.
get there. So while she was gone to get these glasses is when everything went to hell at the compound and
Oh
everybody
my
died and the
God.
killing and that. So
So she survived it.
she survived because
Oh
she had to go get a pair of glasses in Georgetown. She lost all of her siblings, and so that's why she was there to try to talk to the spirits of her older brother and her sisters. And
oh my
yeah,
God. Talk about
yeah,
divine intervention, man. You wonder
yeah.
how that works. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, it messed her up because her mother survived. Her mother wasn't there either. So even after that, like her and her mother's relationship just tore. Because with her being a survivor, she was like every government agency, the FBI, the CIA, like everybody. Like she had like all the survivors, they took them to New York. And like they were treated, she has her mugshot at like 14.
Oh my
Like
God.
like it was, she went through hell, but she just wanted to talk to her siblings one last time. The last time she saw them, she was hugging them to get on a boat to go, you know what I mean, go get some glasses. And she never
Wow.
saw her brothers and sisters again. So
So where did you go to do that session? Was that just you and her? Did you go? Was there a gravesite or
so
how did that work?
they have a I met her in California, and then they have a plot for her loved ones out there
Okay.
in California. And yeah, because they were able to get the remains of her brother and her sister. The baby sister was never found. So that was another
Ah.
question. That was another question she had. And she was saying it just messed her up because she said she can look at the aerial photos of the massacre with all the bodies laying on the ground.
Oh
And
my
she was
God.
like, Dalen, I can look at those photos and be like, oh, there's Jimmy,
Oh my
there's
God.
Craig,
Dang.
there's Melissa. Like horrible,
Like,
horrible.
could you imagine again?
Horrible
Not,
image.
how do you at 14? That's the
Right.
beginning of your life. How do you deal with that the rest of your life? You know that's your foundation of adolescence is that horrible trauma and tragedy. Now, did they come through? I mean, is
Yeah,
this something that is
yeah.
airing or
It 100% came through. It
Wow.
came through because she had specific questions. She had very, very specific questions. Something so specific that like Jim Jones had a pet monkey,
What?
and yeah, her brother, I think was responsible for like feeding the monkey at times.
Ugh.
And she asked, "What happened to you?" And he said something, but whatever he said is what really happened. Like I think the monkey bit his arm or something, or scratched him or something, and that fact came through the spirit box. So she was like, "Oh, for me, that's confirmation that I was talking to my brother." And yeah, you just it's all types of stories, and it's just amazing to me the type of people that have assembled into this community that I have on YouTube, and it's just their
I,
stories are just
So you're going to tell them about the haunted object with Jim Jones?
well, I think with this, I mean, honestly, the paranormal field is, you were on a TV show, so you know that a lot of the paranormal field is kind of, I hate to describe it as like copy and paste, but I mean, a lot of people do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like same
yeah,
equipment, same tech. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If it works, it works. But I do. I'm not just kissing your butt because you're doing an event with us. By the way, we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm not just kissing your butt because you come to the expo and you're doing an event with us. I do think that you've tapped into something that's really different and original. And here's my biggest beef when it comes to mediums, because we've worked with mediums. We have mediums at the expo. We do a psychic fair. I do know real mediums. I've met them in my life, but I also know that there are a dime a dozen, and it's really easy to just kind of general read and body language and Google and Snap, whatever. There's a lot of resources available now, but real tangible proof, that's much different than me sitting in front of someone saying, okay, your mom is coming through and she was a
right,
boss, she was a bossy lady, and she would
right,
always reprimand you. There's a big difference between that and somebody saying, mom, if you're here, you know tell me something about this or answer me this question, and bam, a voice comes
yeah,
through. That is so
yeah,
different than a reading.
Like,
That's
I'm on
yeah,
a date. I was on a date.
right, right,
No, I
right,
love that part of it. I do, because if you don't use a spirit box, there are different versions of spirit box. Some people will filter it down with reverb and echo, and to where you just hear a single word. Other people will leave the white noise, the static into it. But you
right.
really do, like Dalen said, you have to know kind of what you're listening for between the other stuff. Because
Yeah, that's the key. That's the trick to it, and people don't
right,
understand that. Like,
right.
you have to know how your spirit box works.
Yep.
So what's interesting and creepy about the one that I use, so I fell into it. Literally the first episode of Ghost Brothers. We didn't have any background in paranormal investigating.
Right.
Like me and Jawan had no desire to ghost hunt, nothing. We just wanted to make a show
Yep.
about black ghost hunters. We just couldn't find any.
Right.
And they were just like, why don't y'all do it? So when
Right.
you see the first episode of Ghost Brothers, that's literally like the second time in life we had even attempted ghost hunting. Like in real life.
Right.
So that's why people like, why are y'all running and screaming and yelling? Bruh, 2 weeks ago we was sitting at the house on the couch. Like we ain't
That's
never had
funny.
no idea about none of this.
Yeah.
So the very first day of filming, they gave us all of this equipment. Now it's remedial, a K2 meter, a SB7, a EMF detector, like all of the little things that ghost hunting 101.
Yep.
And we didn't know what any of these things were. I'm
Right.
like, I'm not gonna be on TV holding this flashlight and I don't know how to cut it on, y'all. I'm not.
Yeah.
I was like, let me go to the app store and type in ghost hunting equipment and just see what comes up. And the first thing that popped up was a Spirit Box app. And I
Hmm.
downloaded it. I refused to pay the $2.99. I got the free version. And I will never forget the day we used it. We were sitting in the episode filming, and the cameras were on, and I think they might have cut the cameras off or something, and we were looking for a specific piece of equipment,
Right.
and we were just talking amongst ourselves. We was like, man, where's the SLS camera? And the Spirit Box app, clear as day, said it's in the car. And we was like, and sure enough, we went outside to the car, and our producer was sitting in the passenger seat holding this camera. We were like,
Yep.
that's all I needed. The
Yep.
moment I saw that, I was like, oh, this works.
Yep.
And I've just mastered it ever since. But you have to know how your Spirit Box works. So the app that I use for the past 10 years, it is someone somewhere in the world programmed this app, and they took bits and pieces of English words and
Okay.
phrases and put it into a word bank.
Right.
So literally, it's not like the SB7 that's pulling radio signals.
Yep.
This is just pulling from a word bank
Yep.
that's just recycling and spitting out words and bits of phrases all over the place.
Right.
What's crazy is this app has not been updated in like 8-9 years. It has not been updated. You cannot reach out to the developer.
Yep.
You cannot, there's no contact. It hasn't been updated or anything. So mind you, the way that it works, the developer put a predetermined set of words and bits and phrases in this box 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has not been updated. I will cut it on now, and I can ask someone, how did you pass away? And you will get responses like COVID or
so that
some.
shouldn't even be in there.
And it's just like that. Why is COVID coming out of this predetermined set box
Yeah.
that
The
hasn't
word
been
shouldn't be in there.
updated in 10 years?
Yeah.
How does Dalen come out the box?
Which,
I know
yeah.
he didn't put my name in there 10 years. You know what I mean?
So
Like,
do you think that once the spirits know how to use the box and like project those words, that maybe they're using you as a conduit to make that happen, and what you're now the data bank of the things that it's pulling through?
I don't know. I don't know. I
No.
don't know.
I just think they know how to manipulate. Again, I think people think in terms of humans, living human beings, and what we're capable of. And I don't think you could apply that at all to when we transition. We don't have any idea
No.
when you plug into whatever the afterlife is. I mean, it may be like AI there, super
Right.
fast, like, be able to figure things out and manipulate things and just beyond our comprehension. They're not living human beings anymore.
Kind of like what you
They're
said,
plugged
you're
into
trying to use a
something,
cell phone.
beyond. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
You just and I think that's why people fool with me, or mess with me, or like what I do, because I don't ever say anything definitive. I don't know.
No.
And I'm never gonna sit up here and play like I know any of this stuff. I don't know. But I'm allowing you to see my journey in real time. So if you feel like something can be done differently or wrong, or you have an opinion, I welcome it respectfully. As long as you're not like, yeah, like if you have a legitimate, you know what I mean? Like, Dalen, I don't know if this is true because maybe it is a radio signal being. I respect those type of conversations.
Yep.
Mhm.
Just don't be like, oh, this is a BS. That's a radio. Like, no, let's talk about it.
Yes.
Like, I'd love to hear your opinions, but then explain to me why this was said if it's a radio. Like, explain to me how I can hold up my fingers and ask, how many fingers am I holding up?
Yep.
And the box will say 4.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, you're 100% right. I mean, for everything they can explain, and I've talked to the big time debunkers before, and I'll tell them like, hey, look, I've seen things and heard things and gotten responses that I can't explain. And like you said, it's not. Let's say you're using a word bank or anything else for that matter, and you're asking, what's my name? What are the odds that in those 5,000 words, 500 words,
Don't say your name.
John is going to come out of that box at that moment in that time? Come on.
I tell people all the time, the best way to seek the validity in what I'm doing is just to check the timeliness of the responses.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I can ask what's your favorite color, and we can sit here for an hour, and eventually white, black, yellow,
Yeah.
blue is gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? But if I ask you what's your favorite color, and it in the box is like yellow, it's like, whoa, what's the chance of a color coming out? But then it's learning your vehicle, your vehicle. It's just like a race car driver who, I've never raced cars, I'm not a fast driving person, but I would assume they always drive the same vehicle because you get used to it. You know the weight, you know how much you can turn the steering wheel, like, you become one with your vehicle.
Right.
And I feel like it's just the same way with the spirit box. I've used it so much. People can be like, yeah, but somebody said I'm stuck. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of know the frequency I'm stuck comes out this box.
Right.
That's not really something I'm paying attention to.
Okay.
I'm paying attention to that
You
undertone
become
whisper.
one with it. You're now
Yeah.
connected. You're now on
Yeah.
that. You know. That's
But
what
it's
like.
funny that he brings that up because that's where like you said, the debunkers will throw stuff like that at you because there is stuff in there that isn't
It's
relevant.
nothing.
Yeah, it's not relevant at all. But
Yeah.
you're looking for the relevance in between the irrelevant, and
Right.
and to where it makes sense and it's intelligent. Now I've asked the question, I've gotten a direct answer. Yeah, after that I may have gotten,
not fitting
red
that
dog.
square into
It
that.
had
Right.
nothing to do with what.
Yeah.
But 2 minutes after that, I asked, "How did you die?" I was shot, and
Right.
you were shot. How do you explain that?
Right. And
It
that's
can
my
be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, because I tell
Both.
people the app is on a constant scan.
Right,
So
right.
something is gonna always be
Yes.
coming out of the spirit
Yes.
box. Like,
Yes.
it's not gonna just, like, you'll get stuff like the necrophonic that has the silence and a ghost tube that just pushes out
Right.
what's being said. But a real spirit box, the
Yep.
SB7s and 11s that are scanning radios and shit, like, stuff is always coming out.
Yep.
That's not necessarily a spirit communicating with
Right.
you.
Mm-mm.
Right.
That's just the radio, or that's just the box scanning through these words.
Right.
So you're gonna get yellow, black, turd, or orange, purple, green, pink, killer, fruit, by sunset. You're gonna get all of that.
But you're
But
looking for the relevant. The one
you're
that
looking
answers that
for
question.
the relevance,
Yep.
and you're looking for the undertone.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff being said on the surface, but you put the headphones on, a lot of stuff gets caught almost like in an EVP form.
Yep.
It's like, it's that undertone that you don't even hear coming out the box in real time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's why I record everything now. When I do a spirit box session, I literally take my recorder, I put it up to my spirit box, and I ask questions.
Yeah.
Because what you just mentioned, there are so many times where the word either comes real fast or
Mhm.
real low, and I miss it. This way, I take my recorder, I plug it into a speaker, I listen back to it, and I get that word, I rewind it again, and I make sure I hear it, and I catch so much after that. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea somebody even said that. But
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And I'm sure you maybe hear that when you're editing sometimes where you're like, holy crap, I missed that live. It was
Every day.
There it was.
I miss stuff. I the graveyard shift is the name of our group,
Right.
our family on YouTube, and I treat it like a job. So everything is like a play off of work or a job. So the graveyard shift is a late night shift at your job or whatever. So I tell people, like, you're clocking in with me. Like, so my job is to go out here and do the shift, and I will edit, but I'm gonna miss things.
Yep.
And that's okay. It's your job to listen and catch what I miss. So don't look at me as the end all be all with it. You got to do some work too. I'm making it a little bit easy for you because I'm just going to give it one listen. I don't give it more than one listen.
Right.
I will listen to it, edit it, and play it. And when I'm watching it live with everybody, I was like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
Like, if you listen, you got to really edit a spirit box session. You got to listen to it 10 times.
Yep.
You know what I mean? One isn't nowhere near enough, but I'm not doing more than one because it just takes forever.
But I've been there. I've been exactly where you are because again, there have been times where we filmed something live or otherwise, and then I'm like, you know better than anyone because you do this. You've done it. You filmed it. You spent the time traveling, filming it, being involved in that session. It's kind of tedious to put the headphones back on and
Right.
watch yourself for another 2 hours or whatever. And now you're
Yes.
like, you
Yeah.
know when things happen. You kind of know when you got but you're just like watching. But then all of a sudden, there's that gem in there where you're like, hold on a minute,
Yeah.
go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
crap, there it
Yeah.
is. I
Every
didn't
single
even know it was
time.
there.
Every single time.
So I do enjoy what you're doing, and I like anybody's when you're involved in the paranormal from where, especially like the way you started or most people start, um, there is a journey and an evolution to where we start and where we go. And I enjoy hearing about your evolution and the things you're trying and the things you're doing because I think again this is another you went up a step on the ladder, but I just hearing the way you talk and the way you're thinking, I do believe your curiosity, the things you've experienced are just going to keep pushing you forward to what's next. How do I get the next answer? Or how do I get more interaction? Or how do I use this differently? This is the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my channel has legs now because I was definitely thinking a year ago, like, dang, how long is this ride gonna last? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool now. It's cool. I'm doing a spirit box session at cemeteries, but like, how long are people going to want to just see me sitting down talking to nobody? like really, realistically, what's the longevity for this for a show?
Yeah, but that's
And you're one of a million shows out there that are doing
yeah, but
it.
you're making that too simplified. You're not giving yourself enough credit because you're also making that human connection.
No, right. So this was
Yeah.
like so I'm saying so a year ago I was trying to figure it out, and I remember speaking to the president of Travel Channel 2 years ago when I had the idea of Graveyard Shift, and I was like, man, I just kind of want to go to cemeteries, and I think maybe doing a show where I speak to spirits with a spirit box. And he was just like, where's the longevity in that? I don't know. And I start to feel it until we started reaching out to the more personal stories and
Yeah.
the people and the connection.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no, this is it. Like
Yep.
this could go on for 10 years.
100%.
Like
Easy.
there's
You know why? People know the real deal. People know
Yeah.
when it's real and when it's just
Yeah, but this touches everyone.
it
It
touches
does.
people.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has a story, and this gives people, and people are always interested in real stories. Like I said, it's different to go to a cemetery and there is no, I don't know who I'm talking to, and I'm just
Yep.
trying to force a conversation.
Yep.
There's nothing to connect to.
Yep.
Celebrities, people like the celebrity stories because they're nosy, and I ask the real questions. I'm like Oprah when it's out there. I'm the paranormal Oprah,
Right.
Popra. But the
I can
thing
see
is,
I can see the t-shirt now.
yeah, right. But I think with this, it's just like people are able to connect and relate to these stories because these are real people with real stories.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? So it's just like,
and it's unlimited resource, like you said.
unlimited.
And I hate to say it because what you mentioned the word stories, and that is a really good way to put it. But these are people's lives we're talking about, and yes, everyone is going to have a different experience. Some are going to be the happy grandma that they met and they don't really remember, but grandma was around when they were little. And yes, there's going to be the other side of that coin where it's tragedy, where God forbid something terrible
But I
happened
think
and
in
somebody
this,
lost
I
somebody.
think in this world with a disconnect, we have so much disconnect in this world. I think this is the reconnection, and I think it's also the therapeutic of healing.
Yeah, because you're approaching it from a very positive perspective. You're not going in there for sensationalism or to, oh my God, your Uncle Harry, the abuser, was coming through saying he wants to kill you.
Yeah. See, I'm not with that. And my biggest thing is I don't judge. I literally go into every session like a journalist.
Yeah.
So I've talked to the spirits of KKK members. I've been called the N-word from the afterlife. Like I will talk to as horribly, I'll talk to a rapist, a
Yeah.
killer.
Yeah.
I'll talk to a
That's
thief, a
how we learn.
Yeah.
kidnapper. Like,
That's how we
and I
learn.
don't. My position is I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in,
Yep.
and you've already transitioned, so I'm sure you're already dealing with whatever repercussions you got to deal with.
I
So it
let
ain't
that
my
attitude.
job to judge you. My
Yeah.
job is just to ask and inquire and see if you're willing to communicate. If there's
But
anything that you'd like to say.
but I like that you do that because you're not covering up or trying to paint over the ugly. You're just, let's
Right.
No,
ask those
no, this is
questions.
real.
Let's see if we
Real
can
life.
find out why.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's something that, let's get these answers. Let's have these conversations because there's nothing in it. There's just
Yeah.
open conversation that can go
And
back
let's
and forth.
face it. I mean, in a perfect world, the people you're talking about, the bad people,
Yeah.
let's call them that. The Again, the question in people's brain is, if there is a heaven or hell or whatever, what is their message from there? Are they
Yeah.
tormented? Are they the same people? Have they found whatever is after and it changed them? I mean, I'm curious about that, like everyone else. I mean, do they hold that same anger and twisted? You know what I mean?
I could tell you
It's
in the
like we
living
would all
world,
like
I
to
still
think that
hold the anger
everybody's
towards
washed
them.
over, but I don't know if it
Yeah.
works that way. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Like
talk about him being.
I was in was it Texas? I think there's a lot of cool stuff in Texas. Like I did it's funny when I say I did. I spoke with like David Koresh from
Oh, Waco.
Waco, the Branch Davidians. Yeah, just reading his story was just like crazy researching him before the conversation.
Oh yeah.
And just finding out the weird stuff he was into with like older women and kids. And like I
Yeah.
went in there straight asked him and he got offended with my line of questioning. You know what I
Wow.
Oh, he
mean?
would.
Oh yeah, because it's like a lot of people don't want their trash brought up later on.
And he did believe he was God or
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
yeah,
prophet or
What are you
whatever.
yeah.
I mean,
questioning me for?
he was a
I
nut.
I've been to I'm being from Dallas. I've always just been, well, everybody from Dallas is. You get over like saturated with and which is not bad because rest his soul, but with JFK.
Yeah.
With him being assassinated in Dallas, like
Yep.
you know the story, you know where in Dealey Plaza, you know what street he turned on, you know the book depository, the sixth floor, like you know all of this stuff. They
Yep.
beat you down with it in Dallas every
Yep.
year. But I was able to like just track that story. So going to the place where Kennedy was shot, traveling to the book the top depository building where they think the shot came from, doing a spirit box there, going to Lee Harvey Oswald's grave and asking him and him telling us that he was set up, going to Jack Ruby in Chicago and speaking to him after he killed Lee Harvey and then he died. Okay, like just following these stories and just speaking to the people actually involved. It's crazy. It's
Wow.
crazy.
It definitely a journey.
Interesting, though.
And I do think, like I said, you're finding your groove, as far
Yeah.
as what you're doing. And again, especially people are asking for your channel. What's your channel so that they can follow you? There was a bunch of people asking about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's literally just my name, Dalen Spratt. If you type in Dalen Spratt on YouTube, so Dalen and Spratt, Spratt, I'll pop right up. And yeah, that's my channel, just my name.
Also, Graveyard Shift is a part of
Yeah,
Dalen
so
Spratt.
Graveyard Shift was just a series that we just created.
Okay.
It's the name of our club. It's the name of, like I said, it's the name of our gang.
Okay.
Yeah, we jump people in, man. It's the name of our gang, the Graveyard Shift.
Well, we were doing good until we got to that point.
Yeah.
So,
You got to know how to fight to be in our YouTube club.
so one of the reasons we had Dalen on tonight, and he was good enough to join us, is Dalen is going to be with us for the first time ever for an event on June 21st, which is just a couple of weeks away. We're getting married this Saturday, by the way, Dalen, and then we have a ghost hunt the following weekend.
Congratulations, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
So Dalen will be at the Sterling Hill Mine. He's never been there before. He's not from Jersey. 300 people died in that mine. It was an
Oh,
active
wow.
mine for hundreds of years. We've had a lot of activity there. Jason Hawes recently did a show from there. Got a lot of activity in the mine. I am really curious because you use the app, you will be able to use in the
Yeah.
mine. If it was straight spirit box where you need an antenna,
Yeah,
I know exactly in my area where I introduced you to the
I
angry
cannot
miner.
wait to see what he gets there.
I
to be
can't.
honest with
I
you.
introduced him to the angry miner. He thought I was crazy. But
Oh, man.
boy,
Oh,
he
wow.
came out. He came
We're talking
out.
full sentence EVPs
He
on a
came out.
recorder. On a recorder. No box, recorder.
Oh,
Done.
wow.
Oh, crazy. But Dalen will be there for the first time, June 21st. There's only 4 tickets left. We could squeeze 5, maybe. But if you're interested, if you're a fan of Dalen, and you want
Or David. Or David.
David might be there too. But if you're a fan of Dalen and you want to meet, it's going to be a meet and greet. You'll be able to talk to him. I'm sure he'll have merch, take pictures, and then he'll be involved in the ghost hunt in the mine and in the surrounding buildings. So there's about 4 to 5 tickets left. You have to email New Jersey Paranormal. The name's right there on the screen. One word, New Jersey Paranormal @yahoo.com.
Do you like to be isolated?
Tickets. What?
No, I don't. I don't.
What'd you ask him?
I asked him if he liked to be isolated.
Oh.
Man, listen. I don't.
It's an intimidating place. That's why I ask.
I like to stay in a.
But I don't.
I like to stay in a group. I like to be in a. I like group vibes.
He asked us all. Juwan asked
he
us
likes
all.
to do that to people.
Juwan,
the mine, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's pitch black. Pitch black.
See.
Juwan asked. He said to the group that he was in with me, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, we're all gonna be quiet." And of course, we're serious about what we do. We were so quiet. You hear him go, "Did y'all leave me?"
That's funny. That's funny. I know it. Yeah, I'm excited though. We're gonna have a really good time.
I can't wait. And Dalen's such a good guy. Again, agreeing to come on with us tonight. He's been to the expo with the Ghost Brothers probably 3-4 years now. They are, and again, not just kissing his butt. They are so good to their fans. They're entertaining.
Man, I appreciate that.
They're fun. I mean, again, when we went to Penhurst and I was laughing. I never get to see your guys lecture when you come to Power Unity because we're always so busy running around. But just watching you guys and the way you interact, you could tell the appreciation is there and that you guys are just trying to give everyone kind of, I don't want to say what they paid for, but just a good experience. You guys are all about that,
So you don't know this, but we like, I do like the sporadic where I stop and I ask people what their experiences are. And I have never in all the years that you have done this with us ever gotten one negative statement.
Ever about Ghost
Brothers. That's
from
good.
Your fans.
Never. Any of them.
And that's not easy.
That's good. Yeah. Now we just respect everybody. We know, like, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be us. So I just think it's cool. I think it's cool that people will come and wait in line just to talk to you. Like if you, like we will skip bathroom breaks and lunch breaks just because
of that.
Yeah, just because, like, if our motto is, if you wait, we're gonna wait. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
but that's a great attitude because I'm not going to mention anybody specifically. We've been doing this. This is our 11th year now, and not everybody is like that. But I can attest to the fact where I'll go up to you guys. What do you want to eat? And you never once say, we're going to take it and go somewhere and disappear for an hour. You're like, here, I bring it to the table. You guys are still taking pictures, signing, whatever. And it's behind you the whole time, the food. I don't even know if you ever even get to it half the time because
it's just cool, man. It's just cool. Like, you don't want to, I don't know. Like, I just look at stuff like that from the other end. Like, you wouldn't want to, like, what it look like? I'm waiting in line for 2 and 3 hours
exactly
to come speak to somebody, and then they brush me off. Like, my goal is to make you feel like you're the only person in that moment.
Yeah,
like that's what I want.
That's videos I saw. How many people did you say, hey, my sister's a huge fan of hers. Can we just FaceTime her real quick?
We get that all day. People just be making up stuff. My next door neighbor just broke his toe. Can you tell him you miss him?
They have to have the same name that I have. We're both named John. So could you just make a video? But anyway,
right.
Dalen is going to be at the mine June 21st. That is in Ogdenburg, New Jersey, the Sterling Hill Mining Museum. 21st. There's a meet and greet for an hour. Then we get involved in the ghost hunt where we go through into the mine for a while and the surrounding buildings that the miners use. We've had tons of experiences there. Can't wait to see what Dalen experiences and uses a spirit box there to see what he gets, because we've really never been able to do that. So if you guys want tickets, New Jersey Paranormal is right there on the screen, yahoo.com. Dalen and the Ghost Brothers will all be at Para Unity in November as well. I'm very grateful and thankful that they would come back again, because we love having them. But Dalen, thank you so much for joining us. I really, short notice, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No
for doing
problem,
this.
man. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Looking forward to seeing y'all.
We'll see you in a few weeks.
Have a good night, Dalen.
Take care.
Good night, guys.
All righty. There it is. Again, my focus was, we mentioned this last night when we were on, to do more of the graveyard shift talk, because I really was interested in the evolution of that and how he does it and what his thinking is. And I didn't really know, because I don't watch a lot of those episodes, to be honest with you, but I do see they come up on my feed and on YouTube, and I do see the titles, and I'm thinking, okay, now he's actually sitting down with people and doing this.
I love
and that. I do really love that perspective. Now, again, there is no piece of equipment in the paranormal that's foolproof, or that you could say is 100%. But if you do use the spirit box, and I'm one of those people who do, yes, there are real responses that come through there. Not everyone is, but it is in between. We use them, at the Creeper Gallery and other things that we do. And if we didn't introduce ourselves, I'm John. This is Chris. We're New Jersey Paranormal. We do these interviews. We do live ghost hunts. We investigate haunted objects. We have events all throughout New Jersey. We organized the New Jersey Para Unity Expo, which is a big paranormal convention in New Jersey. This year it's in November, where Ghost Brothers, Ghost Hunters, Jay Wasley from Ghost Adventurers, a lot of different people are going to be. Look up New Jersey Para Unity Expo, and you'll see that. But we appreciate you guys watching. Today is Tuesday.
Yes.
So there may be one more live before the wedding.
How?
I said maybe. I didn't say there will be. There may not be, but we will be streaming the wedding, the ceremony live here on New Jersey Paranormal, so you guys can join us. Thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Stay safe. Stay healthy. Please, please, please remember to be kind to each other. Good night.